This episode is sponsored by Will Gregg, owner of KME Auto Cosmetics, where you get more than you expect for less than you thought, and it's not by accident. You can locate KME 380 Neely Street, Sumter, South Carolina. Also, you can make contact with the owner, Will Gregg, at 803-840-8190. Train So Hard University, where it's just not a movement, it's a lifestyle. You can contact myself, Excalibur Miller, on Facebook, or my Instagram, The Miller Experience, or you contact my brother, T Miller, on Facebook, or on Instagram, Prodigal Son 36. If you're interested in being a sponsor for Shop Talk or the Miller Experience, you can contact myself, Ernest Miller, at 803-565-9752. Or you can hit me up on my email at eaenestmiller83@gmail.com. I also make contact with my producer, Victor Wesley of Vic West Production. His telephone number is 803-225-0021. Also, his email address is vicwestp@gmail.com. Some point you went to federal prison. Can you talk about that? How did that come about?
Yeah, okay. In California, marijuana is like cigarettes, pretty much. I mean, it's pretty much legal. Well, it is legal. And I had some marijuana dispensaries. And the only thing about it is cities don't want marijuana dispensaries in their city, even though state law say you can have them. So counties and cities fight you. They like, well, even though the state say you can have them, we don't want them in our city. We don't want them in our county. And so what they have is law enforcement don't really come and enforce the laws, but they have what the police department. These different cities have what they call code enforcement officers. And they like to enforce the municipal codes in the city. And they come and shut you down. And I was having problems with getting shut down and all that. But in the meantime, I was developing the relationships with different people that were dependent on it. So they would come to the store and buy what they needed and all of that. Develop relationships, of course, as you do. As like most people have relationships with the guy at the local liquor store and stuff like that. That's a human nature. We're not robots. You develop relationships with people. And I did. These guys were gang members that I developed this relationship with, because that's the element that unfortunately that's not scared to to do whatever they're doing with it. Develop the relationships, and so I started supplying them with it. But they had other issues where they were gang members. So now they, in other states other than California and stuff, you could go in pretty much not all states, but some states, and Memphis is one, where you could go in and buy a gun that same day. And they don't do too much checking and all of that stuff. And so the guys were doing that and sending them back to California. ATF didn't like that. Got wind of it, started investigating it. But these guys were also doing this with the gun, but they also dealing with me and was dealing with the marijuana. So as federal agents, when they get on you, they got too much goddamn time on their hands. They investigate you for 4 or 5 years. And that's what they did. Sat on it, investigated, and sat back and caught me eventually. But by this time, I'm having relationships with these dudes, and my shops are closing down, and I'm getting involved with them, and I'm helping them get, selling their marijuana, and they transferring it across state lines. But that's the key word right there, going across state lines. That I did, and I was wrong, and I messed up, and I regret, and I did, and so that's what happened. Uh, the marijuana that was supplied was going across state lines, and that's a no-no. And so for any young kids that's out there that's trying to get in and want to do that, y'all be careful because it ain't worth it. I'm telling you. The jail prison system, quick money, easy money, it goes. And it's time and stuff. You're not promised to get out of there. Unfortunately, I got out of there, went in there and it was cool. And I was at a prison camp because I didn't have a bad record or anything. But I still got effects from it now where I'm fucked up now because I caught COVID in the system. And still trying to bounce back from that. I don't believe I would have caught that if I wasn't in the federal system for doing something that I did way back starting in 2013, 2014 that I'm still paying for.
At some point, your dad got caught up in this, correct?
My biggest regret, but luckily I had a good U.S. attorney that saw through it. Assistant U.S. attorney that realized that, okay, this man just being loyal or being was duped or whatever by his son, and he had nothing to do with this. And even though he should have been smart enough and he should have known, but we believe that he didn't. He wasn't involved in it.
Gotcha.
But he was smart enough where he should have known. And luckily, he didn't have to pay the price like I did.
How much time did you actually have to do?
18 months. I did 18 months. So I was blessed. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I was in there with guys that did 3 months, 3 years for marijuana crimes. I was in there that did 10 years for gun cases and other things, That federal system, that prison system is it's no joke. I don't care how long you're in there. A year away from your family is gives you something to think about. I wouldn't change it. I mean, it was an experience. I ain't gonna say a good experience, but it was an experience. I met some people in there that I got friendships with, or going to have some friendships with, lifetime friendships. I learned some things in there. Something I hope none of my family members or my kids ever have to go through. I'll be honest, I hope. It taught me some things. It taught me some things of respect to other people and how you treat other people. And I learned some things in there.
What was your mindset going into it? Was there a lot of fear, nervousness?
All of that.
All of that? Yeah.
But I kind of had talked to people, and I knew it wasn't that bad because I knew as long as you go in there and give the respect and don't be over there trying to be Mr. Biggie, badass, and all of that, then you're going to be okay. You're going to have a few niggas that want to challenge you or to see what you're about. But for the most part, man, as long as you go over there, even the COs, you give them their respect, and they're going to give it back. You go in there trying to, you're going to have some that's assholes, and that's just them. But as long as you ain't just an asshole just to me and you're an asshole to everybody, I didn't have a problem with those COs. And that's what you were. We knew what you was about. When those particular COs is going to be on duty and there, and you learn this program, and you just do it. You adjust. And that's what you got to do. That's the only problem that I had to learn, that you couldn't move when you want to move. Mm-hmm. You get up for count, you get up and do this when they tell you to do it.
Exactly.
You lose all your rights to, I ain't doing it. I can't do it. No, nigga, you can do it or you pay the price. Take your ass to the shoe or whatever.
Yeah. Was there like any crazy experiences that you had during that period of time when you was locked up?
I saw things, but unfortunately, people kind of knew who I were. And they gave me the respect. Like I said, I was at a camp, which, I mean, I say a prison camp, but those niggas are the same people. They
Yeah.
were, I was in there with niggas that had been in there 20, 30 years. They just worked their way down to
Yeah.
get to the points to get to a camp. And had less than 10 years left. And so they were just as foolish as some of the other ones, but they were smart enough or they knew that you didn't. I mean, shit, probably we had a problem with, because we had this thing that they call Unicore at our prison. And one of y'all said y'all was an ex, so y'all know about Unicore. And we had it with electronics. So those niggas we had fire sticks to watch everything on TV. And we had phones and everything in there. And they were getting caught and rolled. We would get, that's what they would get. So we were always getting searched or getting shaken down because they knew we had phones in there like crazy. And I didn't need the phone because I had enough money. I wasn't addicted to Instagram, and because that's what they get in trouble from. Watching porn. Because they give you enough time to be on the phones.
Yeah.
And they give you, and then now they got something where you can email people. And I had money on the books where I could email all day. So I didn't understand why niggas, but they were on no phones like crazy. And that's what got most of the guys rolled up. You had some fights, but they kept that quiet. I don't remember nobody getting in trouble for fighting. I mean, I seen niggas, especially because of Paisas. We got 3 sets. You got what they call the Islanders, which is like not Samoan. Well, they like all the Asian people and the Arabs and all of them. They call themselves the Islanders. Then you have the blacks. Then you have the whites. Then you have the gang members, the Northerners and the Southerners. And then you have the Paisas. But those Paisas is usually the deepest on the West Coast, and they discipline each other. They be slapping and they deal with each other. Where the blacks, we didn't do we was only about 30 of us, and we didn't have the structure like they did. Everybody was kind of just cliquish.
Yeah.
And luckily I was in one of the cliques that were cool. We didn't have no problems. We had very few problems. And then, I gambled. And, you had gamble. I tell you had a gamble. You have time because we was doing a lot of poker. But food, your locker, shit in your locker that you can get by every Wednesday. And the gambling table was usually done by everybody. And so I was cool with everybody because we gambled. So we was all cool, the Paisas or the Southerners and the Northerners. They kind of a little bit more stricter, the gang, the Southsiders and the Northerners. So they kind of stick to themselves a little more than the white guys. They try to be tough, but they so outnumbered where we were at.
Yeah.
The prison is bad too because I used to go in there and be like, look at that. 3 days of the week, you got all blacks in the kitchen. 4 days of the week, you got all the Mexicans in there. And they all just, like, y'all need to mix this up. Y'all promote this. Right? Y'all promote this separation and shit.
Division.
Yeah. The way they give out the jobs. But that was the key there is everybody had a click where the Islanders, they ran the store. Everybody had a hustle. But yeah, the COs kind of be messing up there because that's the one thing that they did do wrong. They promote that being separate because of the way they gave the jobs.
Yeah.
I don't think they realize they be doing it. But I don't know.
Yeah. You can tell them, man, you won.
You know they know.
All right, Gangster Chronicles. It was you, Mob James, and Alfonso
Alonzo.
Alonzo. I'm sorry, were the originator of the podcast. Tell me about that.
Well, we had a good momentum, I think. We were doing good. You had a college professor or educator, which was Alex, and was good at moderating, being a moderator. And James, speaking from a gang member, or a street guy point of view, and then me being from a music executive and a law enforcement point of view. And so I think we had a good chemistry working. But I went to prison. And in my opinion, that's when the show went down. And then you had the COVID, the pandemic as well that hurt things because they wasn't able to meet up and tape together and stuff like that. And people wasn't that savvy with doing what we doing and stuff like that, Zoom and all that. I know Zoom loved the pandemic, huh?
Yeah,
Boy,
man.
everybody know Zoom now on the pandemic,
Yeah.
uh, but over time, how things happen with people, unfortunately, my boys Stephen A. Smith and Max, they broke up.
Yeah, man.
My boys Skip and then Stephen A. broke up. And just when you get personalities and egos, and some people think they're bigger or better than the next, I think, unfortunately, sometimes we all can't stick together and keep it going if you don't have that sandbox mentality. Because me and James are good. We're always good. I actually be good with Alex. I'm one of the ones that can get along with everybody. I tap in Norm Steele, who was the guy that Digital Soap Op Network that put together the podcast and got the connections to get things out there. But it mainly was because of us three, putting it in and putting our opinions on things that I think that made the show successful. Um, but it all fell apart. I'll be egotistic and say because I wasn't there to keep everybody together because I was the bridge. I was the one when James was mad at Alex, be like, "Come on, man, stop tripping." Yeah.
You guys, man, y'all, them nights I work night shift and it's a slow night. You guys kept me up at night with that Gangster Chronicles, man. I listen to you guys while I'm out driving, patrolling, man.
I had a couple of CEOs at the prison where I was at that told me that as well, that they listened to it. And that's where they recognized. I thought they recognized me from Vlad, which some of them did, but they mainly recognized me from Gangster Chronicles.
Yeah, I recognize you from Gangster Chronicles, and then I started seeing you on Vlad. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So at one point, MC8 was brought in the picture to sign, and you guys had a deal with Charlemagne Black Effect.
That's what get crazy at because I got cut out of that deal. LC8 was really there to replace me. That's who they brought in. But they always advertised. But they always no. I never worked for the Charlemagne deal, even though they advertised and used my name. And that's why I always was mad. Be like, nigga, y'all owe me, some of that signing bonus. And unfortunately, right when we was about to talk about it, when they had the money, still, shit, two days or a day before we were supposed to all met, I contracted this thing called COVID. And I went on the ventilator and went out. And I was down for 2 months on the ventilator, well, a month and a half, almost 2 months on the ventilator. And shit, even when I got off the ventilator, last thing on my mind was a Gangster Chronicle.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I didn't get back, start thinking about Gangster Chronicles and that politics until at least 3 or 4 months later. And still suffering from lingering effects from contracting the COVID in December of 2020 to this day.
I can tell you and Mob James still have a tight relationship. I seen an interview with him And I know he was really hurt when you contracted COVID, man. It's like he was really praying for you, seeing you in that condition and everything. So I know you guys still have a tight relationship. But speaking of Mob James, what do you think about that situation between him and Charleston White?
Oh man, well, I was glad with his growth, to be honest. The James that I knew,
He's about to get him, man.
he would have been like, "Oh, what did I do?" You know how
Yeah,
we do something, then we'd be like, "Oh shit, why I do that?" That's the
Yeah.
James I used to know,
yeah,
and so I was glad he was able to do a what they call it, woosah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Woosah,
So
yeah.
that's when I was like most proud of James when he did that. 'Cause, man, you know, people, he got this bad little rap about himself and all that right now. And people trying, but I'm telling y'all, James was not the one to mess with back in when we was growing up in the 80s and the 90s. You know, we all blow up people and say this dude was that dude and that dude. James was that dude. I'm telling y'all. James was that dude. I'm glad he's not that dude anymore,
yeah, man.
but
He's taking care of his grandkid right now, right?
he takes care of his grandson and James and his health. And James just, you know how we talked earlier in the show when we said sometimes God just come and talk to you? We don't know because we can't say. But I think God finally came and talked to him and showed him something that was like, this is how you move, bro. And if you don't, you're going to be sitting behind no bars or you're going to be laying 6 feet under. I don't
Before we,
know.
yeah,
I
before we
don't know
move
how that
further
works.
along, how are you? How do you feel since having COVID? How are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm about 100 pounds lighter than I was. But you know what? I'll take all 100 pounds of those back and I can get up and walk again and do everything that I used to be able to do. I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm tired, bro. I remember I couldn't do this a year ago. Couldn't do none of this. But I can do it now. But 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was moving like you guys. So my point is, I want to get back to normal, but I got to also remember we lost 2.5 million people behind this epidemic worldwide. So I I could have been in that number as well.
Let me talk a little bit about Nas some more. I know you had an issue with one of his songs, Death Row East, off the album King's Disease. Can you explain why you had an issue with that song?
The song that he did, that
Yes,
Nas did,
yes, sir.
well, this I think it told the story accurately, accurate, accurately, accurate. I have a problem with that word. Huh? That was my opinion on it. I feel it was exaggerated, but that's it. But I get it, man. I know how being creative it is. Uh, when you being creative, and then some words just don't rhyme with some words. And so, you know, when you go and try to dissect everything, you can't dissect everything to really tell what somebody trying to tell a story. That's why we have documentaries. Documentaries are supposed to be factual. Anything other than a documentary, you know, just like we was talking earlier about Snowfall. You know, it ain't a documentary; it's a TV show. You can't tell everything word for word exact. You know, we can sit back and critique a whole bunch of stuff, which you know, it's hard to tell shows. So sometimes you gotta throw a little bit here, throw a little bit there, and so I think that's all he did in the song.
At the 2004 Vibe Awards, there was the likes of 50 Cent, Eminem, Dr. Dre, and also Suge was there. I believe Snoop and Quincy Jones were up there presenting Dr. Dre the Legend Award. When a guy came up there, asked Dre in the back, asked Dre for an autograph and ended up punching Dre. Jimmy Henchman stated it looked like that guy had a battery put on his back, and Suge was the one that told the guy to do that. What do you think about that?
I wasn't around, I wasn't there, and so I have to, you know, all I know on that subject is what we all know, or done heard. I'll be speaking from the from the point of view of Somebody speculated. Because I don't, that's not nothing me and Sugar ever talked about personally, like we did on a lot of the subjects that I feel comfortable on speaking on. But that wasn't one. And, but I believe everything that's been reported. I believe that too had happened, but it's just an opinion.
Snoop, what's your thoughts on him being the new owner of Death Row?
I don't think he's the owner. I think he's a front man or employee of the hedge fund that's given a percentage. So I guess he has some ownership. I well, I don't think he's have any ownership, but I think that he's allowing to make a profit for his services. Is what I believe.
Because I believe him and
Hedge funds is
Puffy.
about making money. They don't buy and acquire stuff to sell it. They acquire stuff to make money off of it. And and when when you don't make any money off of it, then you get fired. And whoever convinced that whoever those stockbrokers to to bring them back their 20% or whatever amount he promised them to bring back, they don't care how to get done. Just go make it happen. Get us that quarterly goal. That's why you have stock reports and stuff like that every quarter where banks and places like that say, oh, well, we fell a little short of our goal, or we overdid our goal. And I believe that's what's happening. And this guy is like gambling that Snoop gonna bring him his gold that he promises his investors that he's gonna bring. We'll see in about 3 or 4 years when he all of a sudden come up with something. Oh, I sold it back. It wasn't a good investment. I don't think he got fired. But did he make $30 million up? Because something like that would cost at least $30 to $40 million. Show me what has he done? What, his part Baby Boy?
Mm-hmm.
Bitch Please? PIMP? That commercial I did with the dude from Chrysler? My TV show with Martha Stewart? Come on, y'all. Now, if he was touring every day, like, or had a residency or something like that, which he could, at the MGM, then he might could pull it off. But we know he haven't been working like that.
Yeah, you got a point.
You got a point there.
If you left Death Row broke, come on, we know his history. We know everything he done been in. When he was a snitching trainer day, that's weed for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you can you possibly see the new Death Row being anything close to what it was back in the 90s?
Well, if it's put out there right and the promotion is done right for the streaming, I mean, it'll sell 100,000 streams a year. What, right? We ain't gonna be selling no millions. We ain't going platinum again off of those streams. Shit, everything on YouTube now. Well, they don't do ringtones no more, right? So that money's gone. That's money dead. I ain't heard nobody phone ring lately and go, Snoop upside your head.
Yeah.
I ain't heard no ringtones lately. So I mean, if you sell 100,000 streaming, that's good money. But is that $1 million? That's $1 million. What they sell for $1.99? Well, I don't know. I haven't bought a stream yet, so I don't know. But come on, everything got cost. AT&T got to make money. Well, Amazon got to make money. So you figure if a song costs $5 to stream or whatever, 3 people got to make money off that. The distributor, Amazon. So by the time the artists get it, we talking about $1. It's only good money to the people that this owns it outright, and you do about 5 or 6 of them, and then you make $4 or $5 million. If off of 10 of them or something like that. So don't believe it. I don't buy it. It's gonna be that while before anybody makes some money. It sounds good. I sound like a hater right now, and I get it.
Nah, man, you speaking the truth, man. It's just facts.
It don't make sense. Don't make sense. What businessman would allow him? How could you come and sell to me even if all three of us decided to go do it? Put our money. How can I go sell to you and say, okay, we can sell 100,000 streams a year, and we're gonna make $10. We know we don't pay $10 for a song. Maybe $10 for an album. We may pay that, but even if we pay Amazon or Amazon pay us $10 a song, we're only gonna sell 100,000. So what's that? $1 million or is that 10 million? I don't know what $10 times 100,000 is offhand. I think it's only $1 million. And that's good if you sold 100,000 in that year. But when do Amazon make their money? Because we definitely ain't selling that album for more than $9.99. I mean, but people don't like to hear it. I'm just hating. They get mad. But I'm just saying it don't make sense. It's a front.
Let me ask you a question. This is a side note right here. This question I want to know. Who's the biggest player, man? Sugar or Pop?
Who?
Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Miller Experience. Comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share. Comment, like, and share.